hominids, but man's going to teach you that. I want to be a flower on her wall, because she did a whole course and wrote a whole section for that, and I want to learn from her. Her and another teacher that I know that was actually a local here a little while ago. So I want to learn. But now I don't know what's going to happen here. Are we coming to school? Have you heard?
I don't know. The government, they were going to announce today, weren't they?
They announced them today whether or not schools are closing.
I thought we were going to school for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks. So it might be online, guys. I'm not getting rumors yet, but that's what I heard coming here. Okay, so
Ramon's mentioned it, I think 2 days ago.
yeah, I heard this.
Wait, Mike, are we still gonna, do you think we're going to repeat the year?
No, you guys are fine.
No, I think it's the government's fault.
If we're
not repeat the year, I'll cry.
No, you are fine. IB is fine. Okay, the IB is fine. We are a week away from finishing our syllabus. Our portfolios are done. I've now worked out the marks. We've got it all. We don't even really need to do the second case study or the crack. I've done it.
Now, is this test we're doing tomorrow count towards the portfolio?
Yes. Because then you choose your
Best.
2 best.
From the other one that we did earlier this term.
There's a DNA one from February.
Okay.
There's the one you did earlier this term on population dynamics and reproduction. And there's tomorrow. But we have to test you on this
You
before
only
prelim.
pick one.
Hey?
You only pick one. What's
Two.
two? Okay.
So we're done. I've already done the spreadsheet, and then I can see who does better in this. And if you don't, it's okay, because I've already got your marks, and you're fine. And your research assignments, we pull them up. Most of you, I've chosen your research assignments, because normally we have to have the research assignment, and then we choose between a case study and a prac. And then you have to have another prac as well. But now they said choose between a case study, a prac, and the research assignment, which is so much more work, because they try to cut down the portfolio. Instead of it being out of 100, it's out of 85. And because those research assignments are so good, whack bam, they're in there.
So my research task will count instead of the prac and the case study.
We have to have 2.
Oh,
Will it still count a lot?
What? Yes. It
Okay,
pulls
so
up.
I'll look at the...
Yeah, it counts, I think it's 15 of the 100 marks, but it pulls it up, hey? It's
so
still...
now, what was it going to count before they changed the requirements?
Okay, I'd have to, you see they've taken one of them out, so it would have still been 50. I don't have that here with me. I've left my SAGs at home. I can't remember off by heart because it changes so often. But I can have a conversation with you once I get home, if you want to ask me. No, it's, I don't know my SAGs, we can look on here, but I don't think I brought the revised one with me. I printed it out. Let's have a look here. So this is revised SPA. Here it is. So normally, I've got it here. This thing I can't see through. I need to wash it, and it's scratchy. So prelim is 25. Then you have standardized test 1 and 2, 15, 15. So you've already got 2. Maybe this one's better. Then compulsory research project is 20 normally, and then a prac. One of the pracs we've only done 1, but we do well in them. So that's 15. Then you normally have to do another. So one of either a case study or a controlled writing piece, which we don't do. So we would have chosen a case study. But we've only done 1. We were going to do another one. We got one ready, and then we were going to try and do it now. But then I put the marks together, and it's okay. So now they've revised. So they said prelim still 25, standardized test still 2. We've already got 2. We're getting a third tomorrow. PAT, we've already got 1. Then either the research project or the case study, and we don't do the controlled writing piece. So most of you have chosen the research task and not the case study. People who needed the case study, which was better, I've chosen them. And then it comes out to 85. It says all learners do not have to do the same task, so research study or case study, and it's out of 15. So then you get a mark out of 85, not 100, and we convert it to a mark out of 100. So I've done them. Okay. We don't need to. Yeah. I've already looked at the marks, and I'm going to see now with this test, and then we'll make a decision. If we really need people to come here in that last week and do a prac to push up their mark or something, then we'll do it. But at the moment, I'm happy. Okay. All right. So let's have a look now. We're going to finish off PowerPoint 2. Let me show you what I've done. You guys have got to get in here. So there's your test, and it's opening tomorrow. And I was so worried that it wasn't opening tomorrow because it's in there. You know how many times finish PowerPoint from 94 onwards, and we're going to try and watch some of those short videos, but especially the one on founder effect and bottlenecking. And don't forget to read, okay, you've all done that. You've all had a look at my email from yesterday about what's happening in the site. Alright, so let's go out of here now and go and fetch PowerPoint 2. Oh, and what I did is PowerPoint 2, but then I've got, and you know what, I went through ours, hers and mine, and you can't believe how similar we are. But the reason why I'm going through Man's is because she's got the writing. When I use mine in class, they've got some writing, more pictures. Because that's how I teach, and then I know it's all in the book or whatever notes I've given you. But now if everyone's reading the same, then we're all getting the same. So I've actually taken some nice pictures, and I put them in there, but I couldn't delete hers because it's on her Google. So that's Man's, this is mine. Just slightly different, just with some nice little pictures. Okay, so let's go in there now. This one. Alright, I'll go, oh wait, I need to open it. This is what always bugs me. I've got to open it and then okay, so we're definitely going to finish. We've got 1.5 hours to finish very, very comfortably, and we've got a few things. I actually want to try and look at that fish question with you guys.
And then we'll do revision afterwards.
Well, next week is hominids, but Man's going to take that. But it might have been online, I'm not sure. We'll have a meeting later online at 4, just straight after this. Okay, so we're not sure at the moment. And the section's actually okay to do online, you will see. That's why we left it for now. Evolution is much easier to do online than anything else. I'm just checking if my pictures are here. I did put some in. I've even got this, you know the one about the hawthorn and the apple. I've got the same thing. Right? Remember we were looking at cladogenesis and anagenesis, okay, and how that evolution gradually takes place, or it takes place in spurts. Now there, I think, did I put a picture in, or did it? I kept trying to save, and it was cutting it off. Okay, so now I did manage to eventually do it off, like the 4th time. Eventually, I did it. Okay, it was all about the way I downloaded it. It wouldn't let me change the original. Then I eventually figured it out. All right, so I just want to look at the slides that I did put in. So we said the rate or the speed of evolution. Okay, it is taking. So that Darwin said evolution occurs gradually, because he was looking at fossils and organisms, and he could see gradual changes in whatever fossil evidence or whatever evidence he had. It's continuous and steady, just like a straight line graph. All right, that species 1 changes, microevolutionary changes, gene mutations, but eventually it could be so different that it no longer can breed with the original one, and the original one is gone now. Okay? Lots of microevolution, evolution, new species may form, but it's also said that some species may remain unchanged for millions of years, like, what were the examples that we did way back when? Living fossils. Where's my pictures? They're over there. Coelacanth. Do you remember the coelacanth, the fish with the lobe fins that was found in East London? They thought it was extinct. And then like a ginkgo tree, you'll go back to that one. Ginkgo trees, or, crocodiles, they're not living fossils, but they've hardly changed over time. They really haven't. Okay, then it's in your books. It's another chap on page 273, and they came up with this idea that evolution can also occur in spurts. So on page 73, Darwin's ideas about evolution explained that it took place in small steps. After a long time, new species formed that were different from their ancestors, called gradualism. So he supported that. In the early 70s, 2 scientists, Niles Eldridge, no detail, and Stephen Jay Gould, suggested the theory of punctuated equilibrium. They said that some changes in populations occurred over very short periods of time, about 100,000 years. Between these periods, there was little change in population. Darwin also mentioned then that some species remained unchanged for millions of years, like the coelacanth, and then produce a new species relatively fast. So he said, yeah, but it could happen. He had the idea that species change gradually over time, or organisms organisms change gradually over time to become new species, but he said, but they could remain unchanged and then change. So he was actually saying, yes, punctuated, but he didn't name it. All right, so there's punctuated equilibrium. Lots of change, lots of species being formed, maybe the environment is too stable, lots of species, or just like they've shown 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1 becoming 2, becoming 3. Or lots of species being formed, increasing biodiversity, like the Cambrian explosion, and then hardly any change. Then lots of change because there's lots of oxygen or whatever, and then hardly any change. Okay, so that's what I got from page 173. All right. Then I put in another little one with the horses, because you know we're also cool. Well, we mustn't say that, but we are. Okay, we've got a horse on our emblem. So gradualism, slow change of the original little forest-dwelling horse-like organism that lived and becoming a savanna grassland, eating tough grass and running fast. Or it could have occurred in steps. It punctuated equilibrium. Equilibrium punctuated by change. Okay. I wish I'd understood that when I was trying to do this. You know, when we started this section many years ago, we never done it varsity. Yeah, we've got so much information, lovely pictures. We didn't have anything. All right, so it's a bit dark, but punctuated equilibrium, rapid change, hardly any change, stable environment. So organisms are adapted to the environment. If the environment changes, then hopefully they've got, well, not hopefully, if they've got random mutations that allow them to be better adapted to a changing environment, then they pass on their genes. Guys, you know why I keep saying that? Because every text you read, they say the organism adapts to a changing environment. Isn't that Lamarck? Okay, becoming taller because there's a drought. And you'll see, even at in the very last slide, I've got a link to examples of current evolution, and they say the organism adapts to a changing environment, almost implying that because the environment's changing, the organism changes. But that's Lamarck. That's acquired characteristics. But we need to remember, and that's why I say it over and over ad nauseum, that there might be mutations that allow that organism to be better adapted to a changing environment. And you'll see in my model answers as well. Okay. But if there are mutations that might allow that organism to be better adapted to a changing environment, they will survive natural selection, survival of the fittest, and pass on genes to offspring. And go and watch this video again. I'll upload them straight away. All right. It's just that I wait for all those links. I don't know if you've ever seen that you open a video and it says